Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Soccer Talk. I'm here with Laurent Cortines, ready to talk about everything that's going on in the football world, man. What's happening? Yep. Yep. Not not a whole lot, man. Not a whole lot going on over here, definitely. But yeah, I'm
I'm
excited.
still coming down from my treble buzz. Everybody knows I'm a City fan. That's Main Road behind me, City's former home. And after winning the treble, it took so much emotion out of me. I had to take it easy and go away from football. But I'm back already. I just took a 2 week break.
Yeah,
That's all
well,
it takes. You only get 2 weeks.
for what we had to watch the Premier League. I mean, you definitely need a break, man. It was just well for me, Arsenal fan. I'm definitely
Oh,
if you're exhausted, um, I
well, I
went
mean
into a
the
full depression. So
I know. It's
so,
sad.
but we're gonna get it this time, man. And we got the headlines right there, and well, which is not good because right now me and you are about to go at it because Manchester City had to put their nose in Arsenal's business right now, and
Yeah,
they had to
well,
send
you
£100 million, man. What's up with that?
so, I mean, I think it's interesting. I mean, today I had an emotional moment. Ilkay Gundogan, captain of City, the first signing Pep made. He missed his first season after blowing out his ACL, but he left the club today. They did the announcement for Barcelona on a free. And I thought the way City has handled things, this is one of these things people don't know about City, is just we're so good about dealing with former players. Everyone is welcome. He goes, we give him a clap, we give him a cheer. So he's an emotional day. Gundogan's leaving, but they have to replace him.
Yeah,
And I think if there are players in the mold of Ilkay Gundogan, although I mean Declan Rice is good, he's no Ilkay. He's good, and I think Pep can get him there. They need to be midfield replacements, and so Rice is that high quality player that Pep probably sees
but
and goes, "Hey, we can make this guy better."
don't you think that Declan Rice is more a Rodri type than
Fair,
Gundogan?
fair.
I mean,
But he's not taking Rodri's job because Rodri's job is a job that even he took 18 months to get good at. If anyone remembers from City, he used to turn like a battleship. He'd take 3 touches to spin around, and it took time for him to learn to do that inside step touch, turn and pass out to the wings, inside step, spin out of trouble. Rice is going to have to learn all of that. So there's no way he
right?
takes Rodri's job. He
Yeah.
can take a job that is less risk, which I think is that next step forward from that center
Now,
mid who gets the ball from the defenders. He can turn and run. He's got that in his locker.
now
But
before
the issue
before
I
we
have with Rice, go ahead.
No, before we get into Declan Rice in depth, I'm wondering, and you as a Manchester City fan, why?
Yeah,
I mean, Manchester City just won the treble. They have all the money in the world. I mean, technically,
yeah,
seriously. So why
yeah.
is Ilkay Gundogan want to leave? I mean,
So I think, yeah. I mean, that's a question that's going on. You can see it with a lot of the TikTok and football TikTok, City TikTok is that question. Why are players leaving City? There's a couple of reasons for it, and I think that they are reasonable and difficult. One, it's hard to be a City player. Pep is demanding, it's nonstop, it's relentless, and if you know how it is at City, player can be in form, in favor. Not last year, but the year before. Cancelo played nearly every game, was an undroppable. A season later, he's not in the side. He loses his rag and he's off the team just because he complained. So, one, it's difficult to be a Pep player. It's demanding. The levels are really high. And we City fans joke, Pep roulette. Who's playing? I don't know. You might not play. So, Whereas at some teams at that level, like we'll probably talk about Modric in a minute.
yeah,
Modric knows, especially up until recently. If there's a game, he's playing. If there's a big game, he's playing. If it's the second leg, he's playing. He's playing. He's playing. All those players play. At City, that is not always a foregone conclusion. Only this season did it feel that way. But normally, things get chopped and changed. You don't know if you're going to play. And that's part of the edge, right? That's part of why you want to leave. You're like, I want to play. I want to know I'm going to play. And I think over time, someone like Gundogan's probably like, you know what? Let me just go to Barca. I know I'm going to play because that team has literally 18-year-olds in the midfield. I'll sit next to you. I'll sit next to De Jong, and we'll just boss this thing. And Gavi and those guys can figure out what they're up to. I know I'm going to play. It's going to be relatively easy in terms of my on the field when I'm going to play stuff.
Who, by the way, this guy, the Barcelona player you just mentioned, Frankie de Jong, he might be, Manchester United might be interested in him. He might find his way out of Barcelona, which is kind of crazy. I mean, you know, but definitely it would be a team to watch for the Champions League this coming up season. I think it's a pretty good signing, you know, the Gundogan signing by Barcelona. However, big hole.
It's a free.
And a big hole for Manchester City to fill. Now they decide to go £100 million. I still can't believe the amount of money that people are paying for these players. But
I mean, let's take a step back though. Let's really break it down though, because I think it's unfair to sort of blast City in this case.
No, I mean,
the Premier League,
everybody.
The Premier League literally has more money than all the leagues combined, right? Just like Bournemouth just bought Kluivert from Villarreal, who is considered a top 10 striker in La Liga. That's Bournemouth. They barely survived relegation. So it's this bottom of the table, like guys, and even that lower level. So within the Premier League, plus the premium English players, plus Rice is still only 22, plus he's in the English national team. That's 30 million right off the bat. So let's say he's a $70 million player. Then you have the competition from Arsenal. So that's another sort of push. 100 million doesn't sound that unreasonable once you start sort of putting in all the factors that he is a very good player. He is a captain of a team that, I know we're going to laugh, he lifted a trophy in Europe for West Ham for the first time in 50 years. Yes, it's the Conference League. But if Jose Mourinho can get a tattoo of that thing, then Declan Rice can be proud to win.
That's true.
the trophy. So,
I will say this, because this is kind of, it's interesting how this is playing out, because Declan Rice has made it clear to his environment that he would rather stay in London and go to Arsenal.
Absolutely.
Which is
absolutely.
But you know, and I posted it on TikTok, and people were like, well, he prefers to stay in a football club, a traditional football club, instead of choosing plastic in dollars or euros. But I don't think it's a fair assessment, because
up by the news, they don't give a shit about that.
If you ask the regular guy, me and you would jump in a heartbeat to go fill up water bottles for the team for that kind of money. So I don't necessarily.
The other thing is like, he's 22 years old. This concept of plastic club comes from when? 2010, when he was 12 years old. Like, it gets perpetrated, but I don't think players think that way at all. I think they think that's Pep Guardiola. They just won the treble. They're not fans. Remember, players just think completely differently. It's very rare that they understand fandom because they've been in it for so long. He's probably like, what are people talking about? You know what I mean? Like, he's probably thinking, you know, Arsenal are in London. I can stay home and still go home to my mother on Sunday dinner, right? I mean, ideally, I'm sure he'd love to go to Chelsea. But I think
he's a Chelsea fan. Club. Is he a Chelsea?
He came up. Yeah. He and Mount.
And he's gonna play for Arsenal. I don't want him.
But I mean, you know,
they're professionals. No, I get that.
Yeah, they're professional. Exactly, right. Like, Jamie Carragher was an Evertonian, and he ended up playing for Liverpool. So.
But one thing that's clear is that he's going to leave West Ham United. I mean, there's no question. Yes. You know, the question here is, well, Manchester City was playing sideline for a while, watching this whole thing, play. But you don't think so?
I've seen these things so many times. I think it's all freaking crap, honestly. Like, I just remember the Cristiano thing where all of a sudden City are going to sign Cristiano. I'm like, no, we're not. There's no way. Then the bid comes in from United. You know, Ferguson's calling up saying, oh, he can't ever go to City. He was never going to City. So I think that this news conveniently comes in when Arsenal says, "Oh, we can't go another $10 million," and all of a sudden City comes up and says we're signing Declan Rice. I find that to be a move to get the $100 million from Arsenal.
Well,
it's all a game.
I mean, Arsenal need him more than Manchester City does. I know that's a fact.
Man City doesn't need him.
No. I mean, it would be nice to get somebody to kind of fill the hole of Gundogan leaving, but I don't think that City really is.
We have him. It's called Phil Foden. Phil Foden will drop into the middle. It'll be no problem.
And so I mean, Arsenal is there. I mean, you know, they're preparing to throw a third bid for Declan Rice in the next few hours, probably tomorrow at the latest. But you know,
I have a question for you though.
Yeah.
How much, when you watch Rice, how does he fit into how Arsenal plays, right? Because he's a ball carrier. He's not a line-breaking passer. He's much more of a defensive player. On offense, that's one of his 3 goals that we're seeing on the screen. But like, he's much more of a carrier. He doesn't pass, right? So here he goes.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, he passed it right there. But I mean, listen, I feel like this could be a nice addition for Arsenal because I mean we kind of need those players. I mean, somebody that can grab the ball, that's not scared.
It raises the quality, right?
Somebody that's not scared is going to get the ball. Hey, give me the ball. I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna have the audacity to actually do stuff with it. I hate stagnant football. Just players do everything 101, and sometimes you can't have that. You see a lot of that in European players. South American or players from this area, they tend to grab the ball and play like they do in the neighborhood. And European players are more, especially German players, they're more by the rule and everything will work this way. And I think Declan Rice has a little bit of a rebel that Arsenal need. And Arteta knows that. He knows that. He knows that we need somebody.
Isn't he really just a replacement for Partey, who through until the City game was fantastic, and then the City game he basically died after that. Like, he got so exposed. Whatever the plan was, he was awful in that game because he had to cover 2 guys, and then after that he was cooked. Right?
Well,
he couldn't defend. He couldn't do enough to stop the Saliba thing. Isn't that really? Isn't Partey going to leave or whatever?
Well, right now there's no information on that. I don't even see. I haven't found out anything about him in particular. Now, if they're trying to fight for Declan Rice so hard, it's because obviously Arteta hasn't seen. Listen, the way Arsenal lost last season, it's something that needs to be adjusted, fixed. Because I mean, things can happen in football, but let's be clear. I mean, you can't blow a season like they did. I don't care how good Manchester City is; they're good. But you have at one point, I can't remember how many points there were over City, and
11.
Yeah, so.
I mean, in a moment, like City had 2 games in hand, but they were 11 ahead.
So, I mean, you have to really try to lose a tournament for that to happen. And I know that, but you're talking about Arsenal. I mean, we got Jorginho, who is a European champion with Italy. You got Odegaard, experience with Real Madrid. I know he didn't leave but he's a tremendous player. Rowe is a good player. Saka is a great player.
That's the question I have. Where was Rowe? Can't Rowe play in the midfield? I didn't understand that.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know. He could have dropped deeper. That's the part that I had a question about. I mean, we don't have to relitigate all of Arsenal. That's the part that I questioned with Arteta, which was, where was the adaptation? Where was the trying to move a player into a spot that maybe he isn't comfortable? Where's Odegaard dropping deeper and using Rowe in Odegaard's spot? Like, he just kind of let it happen. Anyway, that's a whole different story.
There was none. There was no. And by the way, also Gabriel Jesus. I mean, I like him, but he hasn't played to me good in Arsenal. And
by the way, City fans could have asked me how he would play.
Well,
he ended up playing exactly how he played at City,
which I thought he was. you know, because sometimes, but we're getting Havertz too, which people are downing.
God, that's another one.
You know,
I
but
think he'll be fine. Actually, I
I mean,
like Havertz.
sometimes a change of scenery is good. But listen, Chelsea fans are killing Arsenal over Havertz. You cannot do that with somebody that gave you a Champions League. I know he didn't have a good season. I understand that, but he didn't become me playing football.
There's a reason that Havertz has beef. But do we want to talk about some stuff with our friends in the north, my neighbors with United and Mason Mount and all the clear out and everything that's going on there? Because that's the other saga. So we have the Rice saga that's boiling now, but the one that's been on a simmer for about 3 weeks is this Mount thing, now, where it's just kind of, is he going, is he not going?
Before we move on, quickly tell me, where do you think Rice is going to?
I think he'll end up at Arsenal. I think that this is a play that City are getting played to push a higher bid from Arsenal for Rice. City will put a stake in the ground. If he takes it, they'll take Rice. If Arsenal go higher, they'll let him go.
Okay. Well, I think
it's a way to get that $100 million for £100 million.
I do believe. I do believe that he's going to go to Arsenal. I mean, I believe that. I think he's done well for West Ham for them to screw him over, and you know, right now he's not. You know, he might not be an Arsenal fan, whatever, but he wants to stay in London. So I think they're going to try to work something out for him. But like you said, I think it's a game. So let's move on to Mason Mount. What's going on, man? Chelsea, are they going to leave this kid? He wants to leave. He doesn't want to stay there, and clearly they want to clear their cap. So why are they not taking an offer? He's going to be free next year. So what?
I think this is another one of these stories that's a saga. I think that there's a desire. I think the one thing that's weird is like there's a forgetfulness about. I mean, we forget very quickly. Mason Mount was Chelsea's best player for probably 3 seasons, at least 2, right? Scored all the free kick goals. He's actually quite similar to me as Declan Rice, even though they're. No, then he's not similar to me. He's similar to Declan Rice in that he's a carrier, less of a line breaker, has much more offensive flair. Yeah. But he's a player that works, takes orders. Every manager he has ends up playing him, even when they try not to play him, because he does what you ask him to do, which is great. Well, everybody wants a player like that. He presses, he does everything.
Earlier in episodes, I've said it. I don't even know why Chelsea's trying to get rid of him because he's been, like you said, one of their top players. Now I understand this whole money thing, and you know, they want to do that, but
what's going on at Chelsea is a whole mystery in and of itself.
But I don't understand why. I mean, their offer is 10 million short. He wants to leave. You clearly want to get rid of him. Is 10 million really that much of a difference? You know,
I'm so confused as an American. You know, we just went through NBA free agency. We just have like all these things that are going on with our cap and all our systems. I'm always intrigued and enthralled by how this whole transfer system works. You get these long-term stories. It's a saga. I honestly don't think any of this is really happening. I think it's total bullshit. But I think that there's some point United will just come with the money that releases him, and that's that. But we're getting 3 weeks worth of news stories from sources here. There's 5 different people. There's an agent. There's family. There's the club. There's United, who want to make sure their fans know that they're putting effort in. And we know from previous seasons, United is a sieve. Everything comes out at United. There's no cool, there's no class. And I don't think that Ten Hag really has his own representations in the team yet to handle how transfer should work. The way it should happen is it should be early, it should be quick, and it should be quiet. And that hasn't been United for years now. So now we're getting this next Mason Mount thing, where clearly he improves the team, but it shouldn't be this big of a saga. It should just be, we paid $60 million, we got Mason Mount, But instead, we're getting this song and dance about a player who's good, but I don't think he
and clearly wants to leave.
Changes the dynamic of United.
Now, well, with their decline, Chelsea declined their offer, £55 million offer. Obviously, United are trying to refocus on other targets. However, the information is that the offer is still on the table, and so Chelsea can accept it at any time. But I mean, we're going to get into Manchester United getting rid of up to 13 players. I mean, This
There's no way they're getting rid of 13.
No, they're not going to, obviously, but you can see. I mean, if you cannot sell Maguire, that's right now on vacation. If you can't sell him, you're not getting rid of anybody. If you know what I mean, because
yeah,
I mean, I'm sure Girona might need a center back.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think the issue that's happened to the Premier League, and the issue they have is it's so wealthy and the players are on such high wages and they've literally have escape velocity from the rest of world football. They can only sell to each other or Saudi Arabia. They can't move players. They can't sell Maguire to Inter Milan for $40 million because Inter doesn't have the money.
Maguire makes $200,000 a week.
Yeah, he can't move.
Yeah.
So either they sell him to, back to Leicester, or Leicester went down. Sorry, they sell him to someone like Aston Villa, and he can play next to one of their center back pairings. Or weirdly, and I know you'll laugh at this, if he went and was the backup center back for Saliba and Gabriel, he actually might work at Arsenal, like that kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
they have nowhere to go. So these players are going to be stuck with United. And I think one of the things that I think we'll probably see as a emerging issue at clubs is how they manage their squads when there really isn't a way to move players on. Even loans become inoperable. You look at Chelsea's they've got this lifeline that they're offing guys into Saudi Arabia. But if you have a big squad the way United do, they're really going to have a hard time finding places for these players. Maybe he'll go to Luton. Yeah. Maybe he'll go. I mean, you've got to think of be creative and be like, oh, you just came up. Sheffield Wednesday, Sheffield United, do you want Harry Maguire to be the anchor of your defense so you can stay in the league? It's got to be creative. And I don't know that United has those creative executives in the squad, in the backroom staff anymore.
Well, as you see right there, Manchester United willing to sell 13 players in £260 million clear out as price tags for each star, including Jadon Sancho, who just got there. I mean, literally a season or two from Germany,
Borussia Dortmund. Yeah,
and clearly Manchester United has been saying that they're willing to pay. Their budget is about $100 million per year, but they spent $200 last season. So, I mean, they're spending ridiculously. And the point, and it's kind of sad because it is. I know you're a City fan, but this is one of the biggest clubs in history, football history. And for the past 10 to 15 years, it just has been trash. And I mean, you can, YouTubers.
There are 5 managers, players on that squad.
Yeah,
different managers with no cohesion that all played differently.
Yeah,
right. You've got Moyes players still there. You've got Mourinho players. You've got Van Gaal players. You've got Ole players, and you've got Rangnick players, and now you have Ten Hag players, right? How does that all work together? Sancho was Ole's white whale, and now he's on the team, and Ten Hag's like, I don't know what to do with you. You don't do anything. And then you've got certain players that play no matter what, right? Like McTominay, because he works hard and he's capable, he's still playing. Fred comes from Van Gaal. What is he even doing at this point, right? Like just players upon players that they don't know what to do with them. The squad's too big. They try and move them on. I've talked about it on my show many times. I thought Ten Hag did an incredible job. Like that team is not good.
Yeah.
And they somehow were able to piece together these wins. I mean, and they have some bad losses. I mean, the 7-0 to Liverpool, the 6-3 versus City. I mean, a lot of games where they really got hurt badly because they just don't have the players yet.
Now, you got players that are sounding for Manchester United, like goalkeeper Onana. They're trying to get rid of De Gea. I understand. See, this is the contradictory statements that they always throw out. Is that you want to save money, you want to get rid of clear your cap or whatever, but you're trying to get rid of. I understand, $375,000 a week is what De Gea gets paid, but that's not your excuse. Your excuse is that he doesn't know how to play with his feet, and you're trying to get Onana from Inter. It just don't make any sense. He's a good goalkeeper, but just say that you're trying to get rid of De Gea for money, not because he doesn't know how to play.
Yeah. The issue with De Gea and that goalkeeper situation is he's still very, very good. And in many situations, he literally saves them points. I think statistically, he was one of the best keepers in the league in terms of saving goals. He was like a +10 expected goal. This is my nerd stuff. Don't worry about it. I get into this stuff. Like expected goals saves. He was like number one, +10, ridiculous like that. But, and then the other issue is it becomes an issue of priority. Do you want to spend weeks upon weeks of executive capital working on moving a guy out when really you probably need more central defenders? You need another central defender. You need cover for Casemiro. You need to replace McTominay. McTominay should not become a freaking Manchester United legend. He should have been gone after a season. He's a stopgap, but that stopgap's now there for 5 years. So that's where the problem comes in. But I also think, and I'll just give you this point about De Gea, is it's unseen is the problem. Is when you watch United and you go, why are they so slow? Why can't they build up? Why is everything a step too slow? Why is it not work? That's De Gea. De Gea holds on to the ball. The buildup goes slow. The central midfielders drop in. They don't get the ball on time. Then the defender, everyone pushes up, and everything slows down. All the options disappear. And that's just because De Gea was scared for 5 seconds.
Well, I tell you,
you know what I mean?
I tell you this though. I want my goalkeeper to play with his hands, and the dribbling that can go, that's nice. But listen, I've seen Onana get out of hand. I mean, I understand he can, he can be messy out there. I don't care, but he still has to defend and goalkeep.
Yeah, but he does make saves, Mike. Right?
No, he does. But as you mentioned, De Gea actually has saved a lot of points for Manchester United this season. So I don't think he is the problem.
Talk to United fans. Trust me. He makes great saves, but there are things that he doesn't do that are infuriating. He does not come for crosses. So that pressure, those saves that he makes, he should actually not have to make them because he should have got the ball already.
Right. Okay.
So he's still those problems that he had are still there. It would be like if City had kept Joe Hart the whole time. City probably would have still won with Joe Hart, but it would never have been as fluid.
Now, last but not least, just 2 players here. Sancho, 45 million price tag. Maguire, 40 million price tag. 25 million on Martial. Are they leaving Manchester United?
Martial? Which Martial? Oh,
well, sorry.
Martial, Martial, they should just cut. He's sunk cost. Go play with the kids. You're gone. We don't need you. Although Ten Hag does like him, they have played okay when he's in the side because it lets Rashford be out wide where he should be because he's not a 9. He's an actual 9, which is what United have needed. It's just not good enough. And he sort of gets hurt all the time. Maguire, the thing I think about with Maguire, and I remember him at Leicester. The thing is, what I remember about Maguire, and you see it with England, and you see it when he's at his best, and you don't see it when he's at United. At his best, he comes out with the ball. He carries the ball out of defense. He's like a shit John Stones, where he comes out and he makes those passes. The other thing is, they've never really had good enough protection. Everything kind of breaks down, and he ends up on his own. And so all his timing is gone off. All his confidence is gone. I really believe another manager and another team, he'd be great. Like if he somehow were to get to Aston Villa, I know I was talking earlier about him going to Villa. I think Unai Emery would figure it out and be like, oh, this guy's good. He can do this. Versus focusing on the things he can't do, he would focus on the things Maguire can do. And that's that build-up. It's those line-breaking passes, and it's that reading of the game. At United, he became a lightning rod for everything wrong with the side. Now, he's been terrible. I've seen him make terrible mistakes. My friend John Santana, who's our resident United fan in the chat group that you joined recently, Christian, he's always like, please get him out of here. Please make him go. I do think that there's a player in there. And I think about a player like Chris Smalling, who was at United many years. Everyone was like, get rid of Chris Smalling. He's been at Roma. He's been with Mourinho for now 3 or 4 different managers, 5 years, doesn't miss a game. He's considered one of the better defenders in Serie A, but he couldn't play for United. Because why? Who knows? So it's a matter of like, who can handle the pressure? Does he get the time? Can he build a partnership? With United, they just need to take a pair of center backs and keep them together and let them play. I don't think.
One player, this pertains to United, but also Chelsea and Arsenal. One player that's really sounding for all these teams is Caicedo from Ecuador.
I love him.
He had a great he had a great season, but
Oh my
it
God.
just it's just one season. So I mean he's good. I just the amount of pride, like you know, a lot of people are really, you know, talking about this player. Like I mean, I get it. He's got a good season now.
Okay, let's take a step back. In retrospect, would anyone have said that about N'Golo Kante in
N'Golo Kante.
2015 after they won the league with Leicester? No one would have said it's only 1 year. Why is he going to Chelsea? What if Caicedo is Kante? That's the question you have to ask.
That could be. I mean, I like him. He's a good player, and all these teams really are looking forward to getting him. You know, so I don't
working
know.
midfield. Like, I just all I care is about if he doesn't go to Liverpool. That's all I care about. He can go anywhere, just not Liverpool.
Well, he might go to United. He might go to Manchester
Let him
United.
go to United. I don't care about that. If he goes to Liverpool, Klopp will have a destructive laser beam of war that he can use at his disposal that I will be scared of, and he will mess up my team. I do not want to see that man running around in red of Liverpool because I like him a lot. One of the things, I don't know if you know, I don't know how much people know, Brighton is just like the most incredible team I've ever seen. I'm completely in love with them. I can't get enough of them. Estupinian, Caicedo, McAllister's already there. Oh, they already got McAllister, so they're probably not going to take both their midfielders. But Lewis Dunk, a secretly fantastic defender. If you haven't watched Lewis Dunk playing for Brighton, please do it because he's what people thought Harry Maguire should be, but he actually is the best English defender that there is. He's fantastic. I love him.
All right, I
get deep into my Lewis Dunk.
We'll leave that one at that, man. Now let's talk about more important things, you know, like Arsenal and
more on Arsenal. Okay,
so Jurrien Timber, man, Arsenal is launching a second transfer bid and hope to seal the deal this week after agreeing on personal terms. But personal terms is just personal terms until you have to agree with the club. Club terms are what matter, you know.
Yes.
And so, do you like this player, man? What do you think?
So, he's Eredivisie. I'm always wary of these Eredivisie players.
Yeah, you know,
it's hit or miss.
It's a lower level.
You never know what's going to happen with them. I mean, we think about Anthony at United. He did not have a great season. But then on the other side of it, you know, you have someone like Luis Suarez, who essentially took over the world from Ajax. I don't know Timber well. I just worry about these Eredivisie players where you don't know the level of intensity. Can they do it on a rainy night in Stoke, as the joke always goes? Can they handle the pressure? I think Arteta is a good manager. I think he can handle it, but I would be wary of this guy being a solution in his first season. But I don't mind it as a squad player, a player who can grow into a role, and someone who can contribute in the sort of second half, last 2/3 of the season. But if this is your signature signing, I think you'd be worried.
Now, talks have continued with Mikel Arteta, and he wants the deal done this week. And the latest bid is rumored to be worth between 34 to 39 million with bonuses, then add on possibly a £90 week contract. So I mean, I think it's gonna, I think it's gonna be done. I think it's gonna be done.
I think for Arsenal, you know, they're gonna have Champions League this season. He ran, and you know this better than anyone. They ran that team into the ground. He did. I mean, it's the same 12 guys over and over and over again. And granted, when he tried to play other people, it didn't work. So I think it's about getting that number up to, can we get to 15 quality players that I'm not afraid to play any of them in any combination, right? You had I think the Trossard move really saved Arsenal to make that bid go a little bit further, but it needed to be one more defender, right? It needed like one Johnny Evans, one Webster, for like one, like even like very English defender who was just like, okay, Saliba, you do what you want. I'm going to go put my head in people's face. And if they come near me, I'm going to knock them down. That's Arsenal needed Tony Adams. Arsenal needed Martin Keown. They needed some English fight for the run-in. And so I think I would be looking. That's why I'm not even being funny. I would get Maguire if you could get him for 40 million.
No, I
as a
wouldn't.
backup defender.
You couldn't.
I would.
Hey, let me tell you something. You couldn't pay me Saudi Arabia money for me to take with Maguire to Arsenal.
But here's the thing: at what price is it worth it? At 40, is it too much? And no, but at 35, when is the number right? 20?
I mean, listen, man. I've seen way too many highlights of Maguire that are not good. I think he's about the only player
turning around like this. Like
he's about the only player that gets highlights that gets lowlights.
I'm trying to sabotage Arsenal.
But hey, I want to give a shout out to Del J who commented live. He said Declan Rice doesn't impress me as Champions League quality, just overvalued because he's English. I mean, that's a point of view. That's a good point of view.
But here's the thing to remember that I think we have to think about with Declan Rice. Being a central defender with Moyes, you never have the ball. So we're not sure what kind of a player he is. I think we'll see something different when he's in a team that has possession, whether he can handle that. Hey, I need to make 90% of my passes. I'm going to get 80 to 100 touches per game and move that ball in and out and bounce it off of Odegaard and try and see those overlapping runs down the wing. Can he hit that raking pass that Martinelli's going to make?
Yeah.
And he would make him to Bowen, but maybe once or twice a game. When you have to do it all the time,
over and over.
Can he be a pausa? Can he control a game? It's getting hectic in the midfield. Can he put his foot on the ball, turn around, play it back to the vents, slow things down and control games? That's the question I have for Rice. He was used to when he had the ball going on the break, but can he be a pausa, take the game down, slow it down, let Arsenal win games 1-2-0, find the moments that make sense for them? So.
Now, just to finish with Arsenal, Romeo Lavia might be at risk to get hijacked by either United or Chelsea, man. I don't know what's going on.
So as a City fan, whoever wants to buy Romeo Lavia, please do. I think City have like a 15% sign-on fee. You'll be giving money to City.
Well, clearly, he's
good.
But I mean, Arsenal. This is just the way it is. Arsenal. We have money, but we can't compete against City. Or, I mean, I don't know about Chelsea. You know, they're selling players like crazy, but so it is what it is. At this point, I think he just has to want to play for Arsenal, and for him.
Yeah, and these are these questions. He's very, very young. I think he's only 20. A good season in a tough time with Southampton. He was playing well under Hasenhüttl. He got hurt for most of the middle of the season. Didn't really get to affect whether they were going to go down or not. Came in late. Had some good results. I mean, I think he was in the side that drew with Arsenal. Good player. Really nice touches. Really unafraid. Take that ball out of defense. Make those runs. Really smooth. Really good. Well taught out of the City Academy. So Arteta will see that. Know that he's got the skills already. Because all that stuff comes from the top, right? It's Cruyff down to Pep, in through, Cheeky Jabaristan, and they teach it all the way through the City Academy. So those City graduates are really valued for these attacking managers who are like, I know he knows what to do because this is how I want to play. And Arteta will have known Lavia from when he was probably 15 years old, to be frank. And he'll be able to grab him and be like, remember, we do this, bump, 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 bump. So I like him. But my question was, Lukongo, who they got from Anderlecht, and they loaned him to Crystal Palace, is he just out? Like he was supposed to be that midfielder. Is he just not going to be there? Like I feel like Arsenal they have a gap. They have this problem where they are the first team is pretty solid, but that next group of who's going to come in, it's all young, and
a lot of young players, man.
Lavia is ready to. Lavia is ready. I mean, they're still the youngest team in the league. Still
a lot of young. I'm waiting for Xhaka to take over the league at some point in the next.
If he hasn't already,
in the next 20 years. But I'm waiting hard, man. But he's going to be tested in big games, and a lot of these players actually not just young players, but a lot of these players failed miserably when it came to the pressure to have to compete in high pressure games, especially when City was breathing in the back of your neck.
They didn't lose the league to City. They lost the league to Southampton. They lost the league to West Ham.
Well, okay. Well, that's a good
You know
point.
what I mean?
But if
Like they
City,
could,
but if City lost more
they had
games,
no, but they had the lead so that they could lose those City games. It was not against City that they lost the league. It was Southampton and it was West Ham. Those were the games that killed them. I'll even give them a pass for Liverpool. It's Southampton and West Ham. That killed them. They were cooked. They knew it. They knew it. Although they almost pulled that Southampton game out.
Almost,
they were down 2 and pulled it out.
All right. Well, that's your Arsenal news. So I guess the show's over. No, I'm playing.
no.
I'm playing.
I have more. Let's talk about more things.
We have Saudi Arabia, man. You know, they're talking about Griezmann going. Firmino is in negotiations. They actually they just finalized £23 million deal with Marcelo Brozovic from Inter Milan. So he's going to go to Al-NASSR. So what is going on? And if there's I know Gary Neville the other day, about 2 weeks ago, he said this, they need to be investigated. Something needs to be done. Listen, I know that European, or well, not all European, but like English, Spanish, I believe German as well, they have to stay under a fair play situation.
Financial fair play, yes.
So
that's based on UEFA, yes.
However, I mean, PSG has bought players, has spent a lot of money on players, and they're in UEFA.
And they have paid the fines for breaching.
So that's what it is. I have the money to pay the fines.
Early in City, we got a £50 million fine. We just paid it.
Is that
like, okay, yeah,
that's basically
you got us. We're busted. Thank you. Okay, so, no problem.
Now, should this be a concern?
I think these are interesting and difficult questions.
Let me tell you this, Laurent. When I mean, because I look at it from both ways. Okay, listen, if you're like I just said it, Arsenal. I mean, we can't compete, but at one point, is this starting to look like we are mad at the rich for being rich? I mean,
these are the questions I have.
Yeah. Isn't it?
So these are
what it is.
These are the bigger questions that I think we all have to sort of think about. There is a through line. I'm going to get deep. Just give me some runway. There is a through line in English football, particularly, that is about working class people and what football means to them and how it works and how it's considered. And should this money, there are a lot of people that are like, oh, I don't ever watch football again. Money's ruined it. Money's ruined it. I want you to know that as a big baseball fan, I have studied the history of baseball and the history of sport down to like the 19th century. And you can find articles from the 30s that say money is ruining baseball. The Yankees destroyed baseball because they bought Babe Ruth. Or in the 50s, the Giants are ruining baseball. They just bought ruining football. They bought Y.A. Tittle. This is a story that is eternal in sport. It's always too much money. It's always destroying the game. So that's that. The second piece that I think is interesting is what we love about European football and football in general, or European football specifically, is that it's unfettered and free, that the clubs can spend whatever they want. That's what makes the leagues great. That's why Manchester United were so good. That's why Real Madrid are so good. That's why Barcelona were so good. There was no cap. They could be as big and as amazing as they want, right?
Yeah.
The issue comes when it is an outsider. Nobody has a problem with the aristocratic clubs. We can call them whoever's won the Champions League, aside from like City and Dynamo Kiev. Whoever's won the Champions League says that they're allowed to win the Champions League forever, and anyone who's new is bad. Right. Okay. So we have that narrative. The issue with the Arabs, I think, is that it's new money, it's brown money, it's non-Christian money, it's non-European money, it's foreign, and they don't like it, right? And there is human rights abuses, and we can talk about, we can go through history and talk about everyone's human rights abuses. Yes, they killed that journalist. I get it. It's terrible. But the question is the bigger question is, who has a right to glory? Who's allowed to win? And who controls it? This is the big question, right? I go through it with Manchester City all the time. It's not fun all the time to have to defend City and our 115 charges. It's not fun for Chelsea fans to have to defend Roman Abramovich and, you know, the fact that he was literally called Putin's ATM machine. That stuff's hard, but we love our clubs. We just like, well, I'm doing this. I don't care. I had to love George Steinbrenner. You know, people have to love, you know, terrible players who start trouble all the time.
Yeah,
so
I mean, I can say I can say about Arsenal. See, like we don't say much about Kroenke's how he owns or they own
Walmart.
You know, 100 teams in all across sports, which could be considered. I know they're not all football, but could be considered like, listen, what is this? I mean, you know, because if I own a team, I know they're not all football, but say if he decides to buy a club in Spain, and all of a sudden, even though they're not in the same league, at some point could be conflict of interest. You know, that's what in Mexican league, you know, you see one owner owning 1 or 2 or 3 clubs. You've seen it, and they
Italy,
criticize
the family.
Yeah, and you know,
they own Watford, Siena, and like 4 other teams.
So at some point, I know, you know, because they're going to tell you, like, when is Siena going to play the Champions League to beat? I get that, but it's the principle. Because how do you know? There's no I own a big club.
City, we have the City football group. We have a team, I think, in every continent.
Yeah. I don't talk about that, man, because I'm tired of hearing, you know, in Uruguay, there's a Uruguay FC City. I'm like, City FC. Like, come on, man. Everywhere in the world there's a city team. Which, listen,
they have a business model. They're trying to figure out how to leverage and scale up the operations of football, right?
Which I don't have a problem with that. You know, I think if it's legal, it is what it is. Just because they have the money to do it doesn't mean they're bad about it. You know, or it comes from an illegality. It doesn't.
I think that the question with the Saudi Arabia thing is, and where Gary Neville was coming from, was the revelation that they may have a stake in Chelsea secretly through Clear Lake Capital. And that's the issue. Because if they have a stake in Clear Lake and they are essentially shuttling money and moving players back and forth.
Well, that's illegal. I mean,
populating their Arab League and populating Chelsea. Then you have a problem of like, where's the money coming from? Is Bowley just a front man? Is the next step in 10 years own Newcastle and Chelsea? That won't happen, but they've got Newcastle. I think they're doing that right. I mean, to be fair, they've bought Newcastle. They're not spending crazy money. They bought Tonelli and one other player. They had a great season. All's love and fair. But I think it's the scale and the fear of like, hey, they just bought golf. Now they're putting 3 teams together. They're trying to populate it with the best players in the world. As a person who's a City fan, I know that just buying big name players doesn't mean shit. You've got to you have to earn the hearts and minds on the field, and you have to suffer, and you got to put time in, and you have to start stringing together moments of shared history of all of football. You have to be in a Champions League final against Chelsea. You've got to lose against PSG. You've got to play against Barcelona. And that Arab League has no history that anyone is going to care about. People think that just quality of football is what makes it. And we know now that that's not true, right? Look at Wrexham. That is a story that is beyond quality.
And that is one thing, actually. I'm glad you brought it up, because that is one story that is cool. And I like it, but I think we're kind of hypocritical, because you got 2, I don't know who the other guy is, but you got one famous actor,
Rob McElhenney from Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
They got together, they bought a club, and it's probably the most famous championship. Where are they, in the championship, or where
they are lower than that? They were non-league.
So
this
it's got to be the most famous club. And everybody was excited talking about them. Of course, they have a huge following, but nobody said a lot when they bought the club. And I think I wanted to bring something up. I said Saudi League or Saudi Arabia, but this is more the problem here for people is Middle Eastern money. And so, is it fair? And I'm gonna let you have it. Is it fair? Like PSG. They're owned by Qatar. They spent all their money there, and now they spent all their money. It didn't work. They got the World Cup. They got They got Mbappe, Messi, Neymar there for the World Cup. Everything was good. Sold a lot of money, a lot of jerseys, whatever. Now they're done. They're willing to sell Mbappe. They got rid of Messi. They're about to get rid of Neymar at some point. Now they got bored. It seems like they got bored. And now they're going to try to move on to Manchester United. So now you're talking about one big club to another bigger club. And so is it okay to be like, you know what? I have, they have all the money in the world. I couldn't do it here. I'm bored. Now let me move on to the next one. Is that because that doesn't seem?
Yes, it's okay. So here's the thing. For Paris Saint-Germain fans, it's sad.
You don't have to say
because
like that,
their
man.
team
ridiculing my French. Yeah, just because I don't care, I can't say it.
Paris
Saint-Germain.
Paris Saint-Germain. For PSG, they're going to suffer. But I think that club has a lot of passion, and they booed Messi. They were like, you're not one of us. You're not of us.
Yeah, that's true.
So that team, that club is just, they're going to feel what they feel. They're going to go through what they go through. And if the Qataris take their wealth fund and then invest it in United, I think United fans will be happy because all they want to do is be at the table and play the game. If the game is to have a rich sugar daddy with oil, then so be it. I'm sure there will be United fans who don't like it. They have United of Manchester with the green scarves that have been protesting the Glazers since 2004 because they take money out of the club. But that's a minority of fans. Most fans love their club. They care about winning and losing. They care about Saturday. They care about their trophies. And if the Qataris move on to United, then they may just bring the same model. I think what the PSG, I think PSG and City are the most paired together. It happened around the same time. I think PSG is 2010, City's 2008.
It's 15 years. Go ahead, finish your point. I'm sorry.
Is that they've tried two different models, right?
Yeah.
One went for stars and brand, and one went for went for infrastructure, and what happens on the pitch is what matters, right? City, if you think about it, none of City's players are world superstars. They're world superstars for their play on the pitch, right? There's no flashy hair. There's no step overs. It's just like David Silva is the best player, but you couldn't pick him out from a line on a DMV. Like, who's that little tiny Spanish dude? He'd be like, hey, what's up? Yeah. Aguero, we know, but he barely spoke English. He never interviewed. David Silva never spoke English, never interviewed. Yaya Toure was famous because his agent was a lunatic. But aside from that, fine. Yaya is my guy. But everything was about success on the field, whereas PSG was Zlatan, Neymar,
Cavani.
Was about stars. Cavani, Cavani looked great, right? He had the hair.
Yeah.
He had the bow and arrow thing. So, and I think they're learning that football doesn't work that way. It's about the 11. It's not about the 1.
Yeah, it's definitely about that. I mean, City, it took them 15 years to win the Champions League. And
but they won the league in 4 years.
Well, yeah, no, the Champions League to win the Champions League. But I know that, but the Premier League is also hard, and it did take them a while in the beginning because, like you said, it's about the 11. It's not just putting all these players. You saw it in the NBA when LeBron joined Miami Heat. I mean, it's not about
lost at first.
1,000 players. You can't put an all-star team. Galacticos, they didn't win a crap. They didn't win anything.
They didn't win the league. They won early on. But
they look good.
They didn't really win the league. Yeah.
They look good. They were rock stars everywhere. Cameras. I mean, I'm sure it was fun to be there, but they didn't win anything. So
and to be fair, if you look at it from a business perspective, PSG have been successful as a business, right?
Yeah.
High profile. They've got the Jordan brand. They've probably made tons of money and done great. But from a sporting perspective, and they made Champions League finals. It's not to belittle it. They have, you could have 3 balls go different directions and you won the Champions League, right? When they under Tuchel, when they lost to Bayern. But it's fine margins. And when you look at it from the outside, you feel like you said the PSG project is coming to an end in this iteration of it. And I do think they're starting to figure out, we need to go Paris born and bred. Paris essentially is the best source of young players around the world are all in Paris because they have good infrastructure. France has a great grassroots thing. They have the Clermont Academy. The world's best players are from France. I mean, they're World Cup champions, but their league is 5th down, right? So Paris can mine that and sort of grow a team that is French and French first and Paris first And I think that'll connect them together, and that will give them the better chance. And then add the superstar versus the other way around.
Now, let's move on. Clearly, well, we didn't settle this debate. People are still going to be talking about this for many years,
Forever.
but this is where it's heading, man. You know, like the Glaciers, they're tired of owning the team for some reason. People hate them. They might be bad. They might be good. Whatever it is, they're going to get rid of it. And
people don't like the way Americans do business.
Team that's going up for sale, you better believe there's oil money going to be looking for that team.
Because who has $6
nobody else has money. Nobody else. I mean, Liverpool is one of the clubs that is. I mean, Arsenal, of course, but they're still owned by you know. But see, I have a problem with that. Like, they're still owned by somebody. You know what I mean? It's not like Real Madrid is a club that's like Real Madrid is a club. Yeah. So I mean, nobody's going to be happy ever, man. I mean, Liverpool is owned by LeBron.
I think the thing that becomes the thing that becomes funny and odd and ironic and bizarre is just like, okay, the Cronkies have, let's say, $7 billion. That's their total net worth. And you're like, wow, $7 billion. They're like, you know, in the top 20 richest people. On the other side is like these sovereign wealth funds that have, like, I think the PIF that owns Newcastle, they have $100 billion in assets. It's like, you're talking about like a kid who goes to his lunch and he has $1 and another kid rolls in with $20. That's a big difference for lunch. You know what I mean? So it's like, well, you can do anything. I mean, we're talking scales of money that are just beyond our comprehension. And I guess that's a question, is like, what is the line when you've established that sport in Europe is a free-for-all and anyone can buy anything? Do we want to restrict trade? Who gets to buy teams?
Yeah, or how much money they spend?
The cat's out of the barn. They can't make it smaller.
You know, they could probably regulate how much money they spend a year, which that probably would do it, but I don't even know if
you could put a salary cap in England, but does that mean that there's a salary cap across all world football? That doesn't mean that the Saudis have a salary. This is the thing, right?
Yeah.
The thing we have a luxury of in the US is that the leagues are closed, it's controlled, it's a single country. But like right now, Spain has a salary cap. England doesn't care about that salary cap.
Nor does Barcelona.
Italy doesn't have a salary cap. Yeah, clearly they just sell themselves off.
Let's move on.
We can talk about it forever.
Tottenham also in a clear out, about to get rid of 10 players at least, among Davinson Sanchez, a Colombian player, Ivan Perisic, ex-Inter Milan. I mean, that's a good player. I like him, but he came with Conte. But now Postecoglou, he doesn't like this team, man.
Good.
I mean, again with the same, like Manchester United, you can't get rid of 10 players. So quickly, what do you think?
I think the thing with Postecoglou, and I've researched him, he's a fascinating character. He's a real rags to riches, a guy who did the work coming from, I mean, you want to talk about the backwater of football, second division Australia, works his way up, rung by rung, step by step, gets to Celtic as like the third choice after Rodgers ditches them, gets his hand on that team, has them playing attacking football, a no-nonsense, a real Australian. He has it in him. The fascinating thing was he was trained by Puskás, the most famous Real Madrid player ever. The Puskás Award is named for this man for the greatest goal every season. He was trained, and his first coach was Puskás when he was a young man, as Puskás was running around the world. And he walks the walk. He has the strength and gravitas to be like, you want to bullshit me? I was nothing, and I'm here now, and you're going to play the way I play, and I'm not going to bullshit.
He's a no-nonsense coach, and
self-made man, but attacking football, pressing, this sort of modern coach of just like, we press, we go as a group, we fight to the end, this mentality monster kind of thing. A 4-3-3, attacking, pushing fullbacks where we defend as a group, and we defend from the front, and we attack as a group, and the fullbacks push on. You know, that kind of modern Kloppian full throttle football is where they're going to play. And he got a notoriously difficult group of fans, the Celtic fans in Glasgow, some of the toughest, most badass, will follow you home fans in all of England and all of Europe. He brought them on side, and they love him. And you've got to trust those Celtic fans to believe that Postecoglou will get Spurs playing. The issue is that he does need buy-in, and it will be rocky for probably 10 games.
But and
will
what are
the
you gonna
Spurs fans turn on him?
What are you gonna do with Kane? I mean, he doesn't want to stay. Clearly, I mean, he's been wanting to leave for a long time. They haven't treated him really like well either. I mean, you know, I don't know very many players that have been more important to Tottenham other than Bale. Maybe
he's. I talked about this as one of my. He's just such an incredible player. I think he's almost underrated. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, the guy puts up 25 and 10s. I mean, that's crazy. And I'm not talking about points and rebounds. I'm talking about goals and assists. I mean, incredible. Yeah. Who does that? So I mean, talented. There's no other striker like that. The only player I can think of that had that much impact on goal scoring,
Benzema
is like, but that team was better, right? Yeah. Is like Suarez 13-14, where he like that Liverpool team was not good, and he carried them to a 30-15 season, or your man Thierry Henry with having like a 25-20 season where he's just carrying the team. Everything goes through him, you know, all the passes, everything. But the talent on Spurs without Harry Kane, they could get relegated. Like that team is terrible,
and
they couldn't defend. They could not defend.
He's been wanting to leave. Clearly, Manchester United, Real Madrid been in talks, but doesn't seem like
it's Levy. Levy's not going to let him go.
Yeah, and that's the thing, you know, because there's only so much he can do. He's not going to win you Champions League. He can't. Nobody can.
The thing is that Kane is like a. I'm channeling my aunt who passed away recently. He's buena gente. He's a good dude, and he does not want to burn bridges or have people not like him. And when you are ruthless, or you think about a Cristiano, especially, I think he's the best example of, or a Zlatan. When it's time to go and you feel like you've hit where you need to go, you pack up your shit and you stay home. And you go, I am not setting foot in that stadium until you move me. And I'm going to hold my breath and I'm going to start naming names. And that's how you have to move. If it's about your career, about where you want to go.
Yeah, he's going to. I don't know how much, how long he's got.
He doesn't have that in him to do that.
Yeah, I mean, you know, he could have easily. I thought he was going to go to City a couple of seasons or last season.
He was going to go to City. His brother was his agent, and his brother was a moron. He blew it. He should have gone to City. That was the moment. 2 years ago, he should have gone. But now he's going to be 30, 31. His contract's running out. That was the time to move him. But they got Mourinho. They sold him on the project. His other big mistake was, if you are a top-level player and you're young and you're leading the league in goals, you don't sign a 6-year contract with Daniel Levy, because he will hold you to it. And so that was his other mistake. He comes off a World Cup and he signed a 6-year deal. And Levy was like, I own you. And so all this time, he's now on year 5. He still is going to have 5 and 1 more. It's still going, this contract that never ends. Yeah. And so that's why he's been stuck at Spurs. And until he holds his breath, sets fire to the training ground, he will be at Spurs.
All right, well, let's move on to the next one, and it is Frenchman Kylian Mbappe is.
Oh boy!
Well, Real Madrid are optimistic about this. However, I can tell you that I see darkness in the horizon, because Kylian Mbappe has proven that. Well, he says he wants to go to Real Madrid, but he's proven that he likes money a lot. I mean, a lot of us do, but he has got a $60 million salary, which is insane, in a year, and then he's got another amount, 90 million in bonuses. This is the first time I ever heard a bonus being higher than the salary, but you know, it is what it is. So it's about 150 million.
Who these numbers are phony? Like, who even knows what this even means? You know what I mean? Like, I haven't seen a Forbes list where he's number one. He's not making more than Cristiano. You know what I mean? Like,
no, of course not. But so he's got supposedly 150 million pounds guaranteed until if he completes his contract with PSG. So what he doesn't want to happen is that if he goes to Real Madrid right now, he'll lose that money. He wants to make that money either by Real Madrid in the contract throughout the years, so that he can get the 100 million, 150 back, or they can negotiate between PSG and Real Madrid. The thing is, he doesn't care how, but he wants that 150 in his account eventually. So Should Real Madrid fans feel like he wants to be at Real Madrid? But man, the first time that you let everybody persuade you to stay, you stayed. They also paid you a lot of money, and now it seems like he's got a condition to join Real Madrid. He wants to get his money, which and we've been talking about it. If you want, like I said, if you want to go to Arsenal, you're gonna have to know that they're not gonna pay you like that. So does he want to play for Real Madrid? Is he a fan? Is he not a fan? I know he's a footballer, but what's happening?
I think he is very savvy. I think he's modern. I think that he's very connected to NBA type stuff. Like he's connected to that group. I think that sort of ethos, that LeBron ethos, is spread, I think, around football. And I think he's very aware that the money is there and he controls what's happening. And I'm not going to give you any discounts. I'm the talent, right? He's very modern in that way, right? It's a little bit anti-modern football. It's very much, I'm the brand, I'm the player. I think that he knows that Real Madrid want him, and he's just trying to use the leverage that he has at this moment. The thing that I warn him about, that I would, if I were advising him, is go as far as you can. But these windows of opportunity to get to Real Madrid, to be the number 9 at Real Madrid, which is, let's be frank, the highest profile position in all of world football, right? To be the number 9 of Real.
Possibly.
It does not come that often. And Benzema left. And if you don't take the opportunity now, Real will move on to the next target. They'll go hard for Haaland. They'll go for some emergent person that we don't know yet.
But so do you think, I mean, Haaland is not going to be a free agent. He is going to be, MBAPPE is going to be a free agent. Do you really think that Real Madrid is going to say no to him if he has to stay there one more year at PSG?
What the question is, if MBAPPE does not go to Real this year, who is Real's number 9? They're going to go.
It's going to be Rodrigo. Rodrigo is going to play
as a 9.
Well, I mean, they're gonna. He was playing that. He's not it. Obviously, Benzema was, but he left, and they don't have him. You know,
if they do, if you know,
well, they got this.
Real Madrid play. If Real Madrid play without a real 9, they're not going to score. They're going to lose.
Yeah,
they've already been losing. They've spent a lot of money on the midfield with Bellingham. So and they have all those Chouameni and all those guys. So they've got their priorities right. Like they've got a solid base. They've been working on their core, right? Because they know that they've been getting old. But up front, that Benzema spot, are they going to go by committee? They're going to let Joselu do it and just rely on Vini?
I mean, Joselu scored 16 goals for Espanyol, who descended. So with Real Madrid, you can expect him to play 25, 30 goals. He's not. Listen, nobody is MBAPPE. He's probably the best player in football right now. I mean, you know, you can argue
he's up there. He's up there.
But it's clear that. Listen, I feel like he's got the bull by the horns, and he's either going to get his money or he knows that he will play for Real Madrid next season, and there's not going to be anybody that's going to tell him, no, we wanted you last year and we don't want you now.
Well, he did. Well, that's the other thing. Florentino Perez is not a man to be effed with.
No, he's not.
If you slight him, he may just be like, you know what? No.
I don't see Real Madrid not signing a free agent Mbappe. That'll be hard. That'll be hard. That would be a boss move. But
think about it though. Real Madrid at this point have not been in the Galacticos business, right?
No,
for a while, right? They let Cristiano go, right? They let Bale's contract run out. They let after they got burned and COVID and all that stuff. You know, after Hazard, they have not spent money on superstars. It like Bellingham makes sense. He's worth that money. He's going to play in the midfield. He's got personality. He'll be there for 10 years and be in the middle and take over from Modric. But maybe they're just going to be like, okay, Florentino's job is to protect the brand of Real Madrid, that no player is bigger than Real. And if he feels that Mbappe is trying to be bigger than Real, he will not take him. He'll break him first, like a wild horse. You know, these guys are paternalistic, right? They're like, no, this is my club. I'm in charge. right? He did that with Cristiano to the point that Cristiano, when they win the Champions League, immediately starts bitching about his contract in 2015. That was insane.
Yeah. No, I mean, we'll see what happens. To me, I think he's not gonna join this summer. You know, if you watch the channel, you know, we've been posting videos. Actually, one of them was
this is a Madridista channel, right?
No, he's not. It's not. No. But I mean, Mbappe, like I said, you got to. Oh yeah, it was a long time ago. But you got to talk about the biggest star, one of them in football world, and certainly people want to know what he's going to do. But listen, I don't think at this point that he's got Real Madrid's 100% trust. Like, they don't trust him 100%. No. You know what I mean? He
agreed.
And as a free agent,
they're gonna make him blink.
And let me tell you this.
Exactly.
I don't think Real Madrid knows 100% that he will say yes as a free agent, because anything can happen. I mean, Manchester City, I mean, you got United being bought by Qatar. They could offer him a lot of money, and it is United.
Oh man.
So,
well, that's the thing that I think United fans probably dream about, is being on that stage and being the club that can do that again, right? Like, that is where the Premier League wants to be. I think Holland is actually quite unusual. I think anyone who's a fan of the Premier League knows the Premier League is not really where the world's stars play. It's where they get made and then they move on.
Right.
But the fact that Holland is in the Premier League in his prime could be a catalyst for United to go, you know what? Why are we going to buy Kane for 150 million? Why don't we just go get Mbappe?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well,
like,
PSG was trying to get Kane too.
That would be like, I mean, that would be like putting like United on the map. That's like really taking it out and being like, we're here.
That would be, and trust me, I think that's what, if Mbappe becomes a free agent. I know everybody else has been quiet, and it's been Real Madrid against PSG. But once Mbappe, if he gets the free agency, he is going to have more than one suitor. And United, City, they're all going to be in that.
City, no, City. That's not City's profile. We won't do it. I'm telling you.
What do you mean?
As long as Pep's there, it's not going to happen. Never. No.
Why not?
That's not the type of player that City would sign. I'm telling you, never. Too big. Bigger than the club. Never.
No, nobody's bigger than the club, man. Relax. Nobody's bigger than the club. I know City's got 2-year history. But
well, I mean, a lot of people are bigger than City. City's nobody.
No. What do you mean? They got a champion. How many more? Manchester United has like 2 Champions Leagues, and you got 1. I think they got 2 or 3. So I think 3. So I mean, come on. Don't sell yourself short, man.
It's Liverpool. They have 6. The bastards.
At least don't.
You know what's funny?
At least don't say publicly.
United. I don't think about United. Liverpool's the one that I'm always afraid
of.
Hey, Del J, they have a real coach.
Del J says Mbappe left Madrid at the altar. Of course, they're going to be cautious, but if he wants to go there, they'll take him. Of course, they'll take him. I don't think they'll say no. Florentino Perez knows what his club needs. And
I mean, there's so many moving parts right now. Football is in this weird flux. I think that there's the Premier League is on its own, and the rest of Europe is something else. Like there could be changes that we can't even see yet. Anyway, it's crazy.
Okay, so
what do you got for us?
Just to end the show, PSG fans tell Bayern Munich. PSG fans tell they don't want Lucas Hernandez from Bayern Munich. They don't want him. So you know how PSG fans are. On the other hand, Luka Modric signs a 1-year extension. He's not going to Saudi Arabia. He's not falling for temptation, although he might after that season.
Man.
And also at the end,
you know what? I could not adore a player more than Luka Modric.
Yeah,
he is just.
It's tremendous.
I love him.
Manchester United fans that were excited about Rabiot, he's looking like he's going to sign an extension with Juventus. So leave him alone. He's Rabbit is not coming.
With Rabiot, you get his mom too. Forget it. Who the hell wants Rabiot?
Anyways. Well, it was nice having you, man. Laurent, thank you for being on the show. Of course, we're going to be.
Sorry if I made this show go too long. We're going to have.
No, we're good. We're good. We had a lot of news to cover right now. The football world is just transfer news. Everybody's moving. Everybody's leaving. So there's a lot going on. But thank you for being on the show. We're going to be here on Monday again.
Mucho gusto.
Next Monday, we're going to be talking. Hopefully, things are going to be changing. Of course, who knows? Mbappe might be playing for Arsenal next week. Who knows, man?
Well, the biggest news of the summer will be
Crunky.
we're gonna have to cover Messi playing.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have to get. Yeah, we're gonna have to cover. We didn't talk about the U.S. men's team, but we will at some point when they win a good game. But anyways,
Nobody cares about them.
see you guys. Talk podcast brought to you by Top Football Club, a YouTube channel where we give the fans an opportunity to stay up to date on the latest trending news in the football world.